Today we start with the relationship that is present between the classes. So it is a part of your object orientation concept. So we have to find out what are the relationship is present between the two classes. So how do I design the class for use in my program? So you have to perform the following step to design a class. Identify the set of class that will constitute the software system. Suppose I'm giving a task for designing the student management database. So you have to find out what are the information that you have required for the student management database. One is basically you require the student information, then you require the trainer or what lecture or faculty information. So you have to find out. Here you require the two type of classes. One is your student class, another is your what teacher or trainer classes. Determine the responsibility of the each classes. So what are the responsibility of the student? What are the responsibility of the trainer? So you have to find out there. Next, determine the interaction between the classes, like how the teacher is interacting with the student, teacher is teaching the student, teacher is evaluate the student. So these are the responsibilities present. Teacher student is giving a seminar or student is submit their assignment in front of the teacher. Identify the attribute and behavior of the each classes. Attribute means what are the information you want to store. For a student, you can store the like student ID or roll number, student name, contact number, parent contact number. So these are called as your your attribute. Means for a class, what are the information you are storing? That is called as a attribute. Then identify the attribute and behavior of each classes. Identify the scope of the class member. Member means already you know that the variable, the function that you define inside a class is called as a member of the class. So what are its scope? Means where you have to use, where you have to use that variable, where you have to use that function, that concept that you have to first identify it. Then how I can I identify the relationship between the classes? So let us understand how you can identify the relationship between the classes. In object orientation concept, class and object are related to each other. So we know that combination of similar type of object which share the common structure and functionality is called as classes. Like you can say, if you take an example, a bike. The bike is a class where your Pulsar belongs to it, Passion belongs to it, Glamour bike belongs to it. So what are the feature of there? They're having two wheels, okay, and two-person can sit over there. Okay, so that is a what some common kind of functionality is present. If you take an example of bird, a bird means they can fly, they're having wings. Okay, so which share the common structure and functionality, like peacock belongs to it, crow belongs to it because they have wings, they can fly it. Okay, so what are the different kind of relationship present between the classes? One is your composition relationship, generalization relationship, utilization relationship, and instantiation relationship. These are the different relationship that we have: composition, generalization, utilization, and instantiation. First, we move to the composition relationship. Object include another object as its part. It is called as a has a relationship. Okay, so you are making a what soft drinks. Okay, lemon server or any squash that you are preparing. So we add the sugar, we add some kind of juice over there. Okay, lemon juice or any kind of pineapple juice. It is sugar is a component. It is added where it is added in your juice. It is added to prepare the tea. Uh, if you want to make a what kheer, then in that sector also it is applied. It is composed of in other elements. It is called as the Haje relationship. So normally when we drink cold drinks, sugar must be there. So it is composed over there. If it is not there, then you cannot call it is as a cold drink. Okay. Here it is given an example. A car contains a engine. If you move out the engine, then there is no work of this body. If you have only engine, then you cannot move. So both are composed, then you can drive. So that called as a composition relationship. Means in one object include another object as its part. Car body is contain the engine, so you usually drive and you can move. Okay. Generalization relationship. Class inherit commonly used state and behavior from the other classes. Each class allowed to inherit from one or multiple classes. The first point is saying that class inherit commonly used state and behavior from other classes. Like in our normal life, when we are using the different apps in our mobile phone, in some days you are getting some kind of updation. Update your app, there is a notification has come. So when you update it, then you are getting some kind of additional functionality. It is not like that when you update, the previous functionality is not present. The previous functionality is present, but you add some kind of new functionality to it. Similar way, when you enhance the functionality of any kind of application, you adding the new feature on it. So when you adding the new feature, it will copy the older feature from the previous one. Okay, so you copy what? Just like when we are converting the Windows 8 operating system, Windows 7 feature is also present. Control C, copy, Control X for cut. So that functionality is present when you are moving to the different operating system, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows 10. Okay, so that functionality is copied from the generation to the generation. But when you compare the Windows 7 to Windows 8, the themes have changed. Okay, and Windows 10, similar way, it is just similar to the Windows 8, but it is having some kind of additional functionality. So here, when the window has come, it is coming as a version of 95 XP. So from XP till now, we have the Windows 10. So every version, you are getting the flavor of the older one and you are getting the flavor of the new functionality. So it calls a class inherit commonly used state and behavior from other classes. So when you are going to the newer version, it is not like that. You include all the things are new. Means all functionality change. In your keyboard, window button is always used for opening the window. A red button, it is always used in the mobile phone to disconnect. Green button is used for calling, for receiving the call or for calling it. So these are the same functionality is present, but some kind of additional functionality it is added. Each class allowed to inherit from one or multiple classes. XP, XP2, you move to Windows 7, you move to the Windows 8. So from one class to you are going to the different classes. Structure and behavior that is common in the different class are combined to form a superclass. So when you analyze Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, so some functionality is common, some functionality that you are added in a newer basis, like in the form of your some kind of new additional feature is added in the Windows 8, themes are changes than compared to the Windows XP. In Windows 10, similar way, some functionality has improved. So you can increase the functionality and you are adding the new functionality again and again, and you are creating a new version again and again, and you take the previous version functionality also, and you are adding some kind of new functionality on it. So from where you copy, that is called as a super class, and where the things are copied, that is called as a subclass. The first is called as a super class, then from where it is called as a super class, or a subclass. Super class you can call as a parent class, it is called as a child class. Super class, subclass, parent class, child class, base class, derived class. Derived class is called a child class. Okay. Subclass is called as a specialized class as because it is copy the functionality of the parent class and it is also having its new functionality. Super class is called as a generalized class, means we share the common structure and functionality to the subclass. Generalization helps to create a program that can be customized in accordance with the new requirement. So when you are using same application, the people are bored when you are using same application again and again. So we require some kind of changes in that application. If you not make your application changes, then it becomes as an older version. You cannot compete with technology. So in every span of timing, you have to increase the functionality of your application. So when you increase the functionality of your application, you add some new feature on the existing application. So by adding the new functionality, it doesn't mean you totally all the functionality changes. Some functionality is copied from the previous version. Like if you take an example, Control C functionality, Control X functionality, Control A, which is selecting all the items. Okay. So generalization helps to create a program that can be customized in accordance with your new requirement. Utilization relationship. Classes uses the another class. So here, your driver is one class. And one driver, here, he can drive a Bolero, a Scorpio, and that driver is also able to drive the buses. Driver is one class, he is using another class. Means four-wheeler class. Whenever you go for online shopping, there is a in that you are linked up with the bank, like PhonePe, Paytm, Google Pay. It is not working if you are not linked up with your bank account to the PhonePe and Google Pay. Okay, so that what happened? PhonePe and Google Pay is dependent upon your bank account. If bank accounts are not linked up, then PhonePe and Google Pay is not about to work or they can run their application. So here, the PhonePe and Google Pay utilize the functionality of other banking application. You can say it is a what? Utilization relationship. Then the PhonePe and Google Pay is working over here. Next, instantiation relationship. A relationship between a class and instance of that class is called the instantiation relationship. Suppose if it is a Java class and 5 students is present over there. So that 5 student is an instance of that Java class. Where the instance of our country, India. Okay, we're the part of our country. So we are the instance of our country. So that kind of relationship is called as an instantiation relationship. If you take an example, if student is a class, in between roll number if it is present, that roll number is called as the instance of that class. Okay, because roll number is only belongs to the student class. Roll number is not belongs to the employee class. For employee, employee ID is present. But for student, roll number is present. So it is called as your instantiation relationship. Based upon this, our inheritance concept has come. In inheritance, subclass object get the copy of the data member and member function of the superclass. Subclass means child class. Child class get the functionality of the parent class and it is added some kind of new functionality on it, so that it is called as a specialized class. Subclass class inherit the attribute from another class. So it is inherit or it is copy the data from another class. And it is also having its own functionality. The subclass, superclass, class from which attributes are derived. From which your attributes are derived. So that is called your superclass. So what are the different type of inheritance are present? So there are three different type of relationship as present. One is single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance. In single inheritance, one child class derive its set of attribute from one parent class. So one child class derive its set of attribute from one parent class. It is called as the single inheritance. In multiple inheritance, one child class derive its set of attribute from more than one parent class. Okay, you means one class derive the feature from more than one parent class. Single inheritance means it is derived the set of attribute from one parent class and it is adding its new functionality. Java doesn't support the multiple inheritance. Java supports the single inheritance and multi-level inheritance. What is that multi-level? In multi-level inheritance, every time the subclass becomes a what? Parent class. It's just like a what? Hereditary relationship. From your grandfather to your father, then from father then you. So here your grandfather is a parent, your father then is a child. Now when you come, then your father becomes parent. So that is called as a multi-level. It is going on in a generic basis or generalized basis. This is called as the multi-level inheritance. Remember that Java doesn't support the multiple inheritance. Java only supports the single inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Java supports multiple inheritance in the case of interface. So when you learn about the interface, then in that part, your multiple inheritance will work. Then comes to the polymorphism. Polymorphism is a combination of the two words. One is poly, another is morphous. Poly means many, morphous means form. Like if you take an example, when you are in your home, you are son of somebody, you are daughter of somebody. When you are moving to your college, your role has changed. You are same person, your role is student. When you are moving to office, your role has changed. You are considered as an employee. And if you take an example, your mood. So you are the same person. Sometimes you are happy. Okay. Sometimes you are ambitious. Sometimes you have become angry. So different moods of a particular person is called as a polymorphism. Okay. So that is implemented in the programming. Okay, how it is implemented we will discuss. So it is a concept of your inheritance and polymorphism. In inheritance, you enhance the functionality of the existing classes by adding the new feature on it, and you copy the element from the parent class or superclass. And in polymorphism, that is called as a, that I'm non-technically it is called as a what, one object is having a different form. Okay, one function is present in a different form. Okay, like if you take an example, area is one function. When you use area in circle, pi square. When you use in a rectangle, area function, functionality changes, length interval. The same function, same person, but functionality changes depending where it is used. When it is used in the rectangle, that functionality changes. When it is used in the circle, that functionality is also changed. Okay. It's saying the same thing. Role of a lady being mother and instructor at the same time depict the polymorphism. When she is at home, she is a mother. When she is at her office, she is an instructor. This polymorphism is implemented in the two phases. That is, there is a two type of polymorphism. One is your static polymorphism, another is your dynamic polymorphism. So what is the static polymorphism? In the case of static polymorphism, an entity such as a method can exist in multiple forms. One function is present in a different form. In static polymorphism, one or more method can exist with the same name, but its argument is different. In the case of static polymorphism, the same function is used in a class more than one time, but its functionality changes. Okay, like sometime the number of parameter is different, type of parameter different, or sequence of parameter different. So how it is possible? So let's see one example for it. Suppose I define void show function int a comma int b void show int a. So here it is called as number of parameter is different. Next void show int a void show character b. So here it is called type of parameter is different. Next another way is void show int a and void show here I define character a int b, here int a then character b. So here it is called sequence of parameter is different. The number of parameter is different, type of parameter is different. Next is sequence of parameter is different. So same function is used in a class, but it is differ in a three way. This concept is called as the this is one. While implementing a method, this concept is called as the overloading method. So different in type or number of their argument, differ in sequence of their parameter, differ in data type of the parameter. It is called as the your static polymorphism. Static polymorphism. Okay. Now let's see one example of this. Here we define a function, public void add function. Public void add function. If you notice here, we define int a and int b, double a and double b. So number of type of parameter here different. So in main method, we are creating a object of class. Through this object, when you call the add function, then which function will call? As we pass 10 and 13, it is moving to this add function 10 and 13. Here, as we pass 10.3 and 20.7, it is moving to the double part. It is added and it is return you the result. Twenty-three 31.0. Okay. This is all about your method overload. Uh, in next class, we go for method overriding concept and how your inheritance will work. Then that thing will discuss. Thank you.